Hey guys, this is Mr. Roxy coming at you live from Palm Beach in Florida. Guess what? It's December the 24th, and a lot of people all over the world are going to be taking a bit of time off, spending time with family, friends, loved ones. I hope that includes you too, for whatever reason, whether you're celebrating or not. Just stay healthy and take care. What I did for this particular presentation really has very little to do with the stock market, but more related to the sort of overall news highlights reel for 2021. So what I am planning to do is to kind of go through it from a US point of view and share with you what the major headlines were sort of for this year to date. Now, I obviously understand and appreciate that there's still 1 week left to go, and a lot of things can happen, including on the stock market. But in the meantime, here are the things that made news in 2021, going back all the way to January the 6th, as Congress convened, the US Congress, to convene to certify Joe Biden's electoral victory. Hundreds of protesters, and this is the media's example of hundreds of protesters who were in DC for the Save America rally, violently breached the US Capitol building, making it as far as the Senate chamber, killing one Capitol police officer and injuring more than 140 others. Now, what I'm not going to do, or I'm going to resist the temptation of doing, is comment on the media's presentation of things, other than for the fact that I've already said this is a representation of hundreds of people. Whether it's right or wrong, I'm going to leave it to you to decide. But anyway, this is sort of headline number one, starting on January the 6th. And of course, I'm in the US, so forgive me if it's mostly US centric, but more than welcome to comment afterwards and tell me what happened in your country. The inauguration of President Joe Biden happened just after that, and there was a transition in the executive branch. The rhetoric moved from America First, which some people will remember as MAGA, Make America Great Again, to America is Back. In other words, it was lost and now it has been found. Legitimacy of Biden's victory with 306 electoral votes was questioned by former President Donald Trump and his supporters. Now, you might recall, if you're not from the US or if you don't know, that you need 270 electoral votes to win the presidency. And Biden comfortably won with 306 electoral votes. And then after that, some people questioned the victory. The GameStop short squeeze, this was awesome, man. This also dates back to January. This kind of almost changed the market entirely as we think about it, or as we know it. In January, followers of the subreddit Wall Street Bets effectively brought Wall Street to its knees by forcing the short squeeze in GameStop. In just 6 months, the company's stock prices went from hovering around $5 to nearly $350. Well, there's the employee parking at GameStop, just to give you an indication of what that stock price meant for the employees and the executives at the company. And of course, not to mention the guys from Wall Street Bets who actually managed to kind of force the short squeeze. I mean, that was just awesome. That was in the news for how long? Maybe more than a month, because it just kept going and going and going. At the bottom here, short sellers were estimated to have lost $26 billion in that squeeze from GameStop, a company that arguably should have just gone into bankruptcy. What else happened? Well, some guy driving a ship, maybe at the risk of upsetting half my viewers, I'll say a lady tried to parallel park a ship. Nah, I'm just kidding. Come on, guys, it's Christmas in the US anyway. Ever Given, the massive cargo ship carrying more than 18,000 containers, ran aground in the Suez Canal. How do you do that? How does that even happen? This was in March. For 6 days, the vessel blocked the passage of more than 400 other ships. Here's where it gets a little bit suspicious. Experts estimated that the ripple effect was 60-day shipping delays for roughly $60 billion worth of products. It also shone a light on the outdated infrastructure of freight shipping. Well, that's not suspicious at all, because that might be factually correct. But what's interesting about it is the fact that they sort of implied that this was the start of what we view today as the supply chain disruptions that are happening across the world. I don't think so. This was one particular event, but Anyway, it happened. How about the rise of NFTs? What are NFTs? Non-fungible tokens. They were introduced to the world. Now, they might have been introduced prior to 2021, but there's no exact date, so nobody really knows. But this little squidget here on the right-hand side of the screen is every day is the first 5,000 days by the artist Beeple, which sold for $69 million. So it's a non-fungible token, and it relies on blockchain. And then I was just thinking to myself, like, so if I cover this in my video, is someone going to pay me, I don't know, I'll take 10% of that, $6.9 million for this reproduction? I don't think so. Mr. Oxy's not going to get lucky there. COVID-19 vaccines available to all. Now, I'm not going to talk much about COVID-19 because it actually happened in 2020. But by May, a year and a half into the COVID-19 pandemic, adults in the United States across all 50 states were eligible to receive Pfizer, Moderna, or Johnson & Johnson. Pfizer's stock moved up a little. You may recall, if you've been following the channel, I exited Pfizer when it was at about $44, $45. It dropped all the way down to about $36 and recovered again, and now it's sort of in the 50s. So if I had held on to my Pfizer, I would have been up a bit, maybe about 20% or so, not too bad. But boy, if you had invested in Moderna, you certainly have had a good run in terms of your stock market performance. Johnson & Johnson, on the other hand, not really going anywhere at all. And for the longest time, Johnson & Johnson was probably, arguably, the most well-managed pharmaceutical company on the planet. But then there's this little line here at the bottom. It was a milestone met by the American public with hope, relief. You could probably say those two go together and represent one thing, because on the other side, flip side of the coin was hesitancy. Now, I don't know how many people have actually received either one of Pfizer, Moderna, or Johnson & Johnson, because they don't publish that type of statistics. So we don't really know. And neither do we know for sure how many people have been vaccinated with either one of these three or something else, or otherwise were hesitant and did not get vaccinated at all. We simply don't know. So I have no comment. I'm just sharing news. And then there was the Billionaire space race. So forgive me for using the space monkey here with his strapped-on banana for food. But on July the 11th, Branson became the first civilian aboard his own rocket ship to reach space. Now, Branson reached an altitude of 53 miles above ground, which is quite high in terms of altitude, because the average jumbo jet does not get much beyond 7 miles, which is about 30,000, 40,000 feet. So 53 miles above ground is, quite a long way above ground. However, at the bottom here, if you adhere to the belief that space begins at the Kármán line, as Bezos conveniently does, then Branson just went really high. So the space millionaires and billionaires, maybe not millionaires, just billionaires, Richard Branson and Jeff Bezos from Amazon, and Elon Musk from Tesla and SpaceX, are certainly having a little battle, and it looks like Elon Musk is the winner by far, so far, but who knows? Time will tell. Mental health dominated the Tokyo Olympics. Can you guys even remember that there was an Olympic Games in Tokyo in July? Maybe it wasn't that memorable because nobody attended other than athletes and their supporting teams and management and maybe some family members. But there was news related to star gymnast Simone Biles, who withdrew from the Team USA, citing mental health concerns. Whatever it was that was troubling Simone, I hope that she was able to overcome that. But in a way, the old adage of there's a silver cloud, a silver lining behind every cloud, is probable in this particular instance as well, because it highlighted mental health for sure, which is something that also impacted a great number of people during the COVID-19 pandemic. Mental health was probably more disruptive than anything else related to COVID. A lot of people negatively impacted for a variety of different reasons. Then there was the news that America was withdrawing from Afghanistan. That would happen in August. The US withdrew its last of its troops from Afghanistan. Remember, I said at the beginning, I'm not commenting on whether it's good or bad. I'm just sharing the sort of news highlights reel. Most Americans, according to the polling year, 54% agree that the withdrawal from the country was the right decision, but that it was handled poorly. And the Taliban, of course, will regain control of Afghanistan in just under 10 days. The release of the Facebook files, I'm almost wrapping it up here because it's like a top 10, right? In September, the Wall Street Journal published a series of investigative reports called the Facebook files, based on documents released by a whistleblower. Well, what came out of that, whether it's all true or not, I wouldn't know. Negative impact on teenage girls, especially the pervasive spread of hate speech and misinformation and ad hoc decisions around censorship. Well, I do have an opinion on Facebook. Delete Facebook, though. This is just garbage. I understand that there are, a couple of billion users on the planet. I'm not sure how many people use it actively. I think most of the younger people have migrated away from Facebook into Instagram. But Facebook, I look at Facebook because we use it to promote our businesses as well. I'm not sure how effective it is or not, but it's kind of like if you're not there, then you're not even trying. So, and I go onto Facebook to get an update on some of our businesses, and I just go like, what the heck is this for? Anyway, whatever. How about we talk about some stocks for a couple of minutes before I wrap it up? The S&P 500 top 5 for 2021. So remember, this is the S&P 500, so you might have stocks that even outperform these, but how about this? Moderna right at the top of the food chain, plus 170% sort of year to date. Devon Energy, and right at the bottom in Marathon. It's not unusual or unexpected to get a couple of energy companies in the top 5. In fact, I'm surprised it's only 2. How about Ford? That's a surprise as well, 132%. Most people across the world wouldn't even know what Bath and Body Works is, but they have retail stores all across the United States and probably some in other countries too. But the Bath and Body Works business, basically selling scented oils and soaps and things like that, 130% year to date for 2021, top performer in the S&P 500. If you had asked me to guess the top 5, I might have gotten a couple of energy companies right, and I knew, because based on my previous research, that Devon Energy and Marathon Oil would be near the top. I wouldn't have been sure off the bat if I had to guess whether they made it into the top 5, but they sure did. Look at Devon Energy here, year to date, 160%. So when you look at where we came from on this particular graph here, Devon is in blue, 160%. And just beneath that, you can see Marathon. Initially, it was outperforming Devon, and then it dipped just below it. Pretty good, 134% year to date. And the poor old S&P 500, only 27.7%. Now, guys, for some perspective, if I had told you at the beginning of the year you can invest in a particular stock that was going to give you a 27% return for the year, you probably would have said, thank you very much, I'll take it. And that's where the S&P ended up lagging horribly. Talking about energy, for the people who are still with me long in Oxy, much the same comment applies, right? Oxy's year-to-date performance, I think it's 69%. And now, once again, if I told you in January that you should put some money long into Oxy, and by the end of the year you'll be at around 70%, you probably would have said, thank you very much, I'll take it. Conversely, of course, if you had gotten into Oxy, for instance, at $35 and now it's at $29, then maybe it doesn't feel so good. But these things happen, right? That happens with any stock. You can see even Devon with its peaks and valleys here. And as I said at the beginning of the year, Marathon was comfortably outperforming Devon Energy, only to get trounced as we got into the later months of the year. Well, in case you didn't have any of those top 5, including some of the energy stocks that have all done well for the year, if it makes you feel any better, hopefully you didn't have any of the S&P 500's worst 5 year to date for 2021: Las Vegas Sands, IPG Photonics, Global Payments, FMC Corp, and Take-Two Interactive. So I hope for your sake you didn't have any of these, because in a year when the S&P 500 goes up 27%, positive, plus 27%, you certainly don't want to have a stock that goes negative 30%. That'd be not a nice feeling, right? So anyway, as I said at the beginning of the video, it is kind of holidays for many people across the world. And, if you want to comment on this video and tell me what I missed in terms of your country specifically. And as I said, also, it was kind of US centric, and I know there's lots of news out of China and the European Union, the UK, African countries, South Africa, where the Omicron virus was discovered, etc. You can let me know in the comments what I missed, but it was not meant to be a video of bad news. It was just meant to be a video of news highlights. If you like the content, please do subscribe. And then on a lighter note, if you are taking some time off to spend with family and friends and relatives as we go into the sort of holiday season, whatever it is that you're celebrating, or even if you're not celebrating anything in particular at all, until maybe next week when it's going to be sort of flipping the calendar from December to January 2022. I wish you the best of health and the best of success. Probably going to see you before December the 31st. But for now, that's Mr. Oxy saying thanks for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.